Hello, guys. Welcome to Hope Cradle. If you're new, my name is Sheila, and Hope Cradle is all about spreading hope and love throughout the world. Well, today's topic, as indicated on the title, it's about why many are abandoning church. I know each one of us have noticed, especially those who go to church regularly, or even if you've started maybe going to church recently, you've noticed the church has become unappealing to so many. It's no longer as it were some few years back, or maybe during our parents' time, or even when we were growing up. And I would attribute that maybe mostly because the church itself has changed. It's no longer as it used to be back then. And I know that things are not the same, especially when it comes to I mean the church has become more of a money minting or a money mincing institution that gets money from the congregants. I'm not against giving, I'm not against all those kinds of contribution, but the aspect of church has changed from a place of solace to a place where money is taken from the church, or money has become the center of everything. Contributions here, contributions there, such that it has become burdensome even to the congregants. And that's exactly what I would like us to touch on today, because I know this is an issue that is touching all of us. And well, like I've indicated earlier, like I've said earlier, the church's theme has changed. Earlier, maybe some few years back, a decade ago, or like I've said, maybe when we were growing up, the church was mostly a place where people could run and they would find solace, or a place where they could be comforted and feel good and be able to face life as it is. And as the world has become challenging by the day, the world has become more difficult by the day. Like right now, the world is almost headed for a recession, or maybe even we've entered. I've not checked the news recently, but inflation is everywhere, and the world has become so stressful and it has become so strenuous, such that it's getting difficult even to afford the normal the basic needs, or the things we could afford some years back. And as the church should be a place where we find comfort and a place where we find strength to face the week's challenge. But instead, people now are dreading to go to church. Why? Sorry. Because every time you go to church, there's this contribution you need to make. There's that tithing. There's that offering. There's this project, church project. I don't know, you're opening a new branch elsewhere and people need to contribute. Or there's this visiting pastor and we need to bless the man of God. Or there's this project with the pastors. We need to buy them cars, or we need to buy them the newest jet, or we need to upgrade their homes. So it has become so challenging for the normal believers or the congregants to stay in the church. The church is no longer as appealing as it used to be. So you see, for believers, and what actually pastors are supposed to promote, it's mostly the church should be a place where we find refuge as believers, or even an unbeliever. It's a place where you can find peace, a place where you can find rest and feel you're good with your fellow brothers in Christ and sisters in Christ. But instead, everyone is dreading to go to church. Why? Because there's this contribution you need to make, and then they bombard us and they bombard the congregants with all these verses of these contributions they need to make. Oh, this so biblical, this so biblical, and yet the person who is being told to contribute, they cannot even afford a meal. And even if they can, it's difficult for them even to contribute that amount. You see, you go to church. Even the most insulting part is those are a church I went before. I used to go sometime before. Not that I'm against the church, and not that, please note this, I'm not against the contribution and all that. I'm against the whole centering the church theme into financial, or making it a financial institution that means money off congregants. That's where the problem is, and that's what is making people abandon church. That such that you're finding, there's this place I went, and there were projects, one project after the other, and there's no even a break for people even to relax a bit. So you're told, oh, there's this trip we need to make, and then there's this part. The worst part of it is that there's this a group of people who will be like, you know what, even if you can't afford these people, don't worry, just register. Some people will contribute for you, they pay for you. You know, you feel so bad as a believer that God is able to afford for others, and yet for you, you're unable to do it. So it starts bruising even your feelings inside. You're like, okay, why is it that God is making me a beggar, that I'm appearing as a peasant that need help, you know? So to avoid all these and feeling bad and all time becoming a charity, a charity case, you choose to just abandon church altogether. So my point is today that the church is no longer is appealing, mostly because of this money issue. It's all about money. Contribution, 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 contribution. Instead of us living, you know, you spend the whole week tired and stressed because the world is demanding too much from us. There's rent, there's gas has the price, gas prices have really skyrocketed. Food inflation is so high. There's just so much that demands money in the current world. And then you go to church because you want solace and you want some rest in your head or some peace, and you want just comforting in the church. You go there, the contributions there are even more than even in the world. So you're left like, you know what, let me just leave the church altogether. Because you go there, they give you all these words that, hey, you need to give because this word says this and that and that, and then you're like, hey, I can't fulfill all those words, so let me just leave the church for now. I'll go back when I get money, you know. So the church has really transformed, and I think that's what exactly is ailing the church today. That's why so many abandoning it, you know, especially the country. There are so many reasons, and maybe I'll get to touch on them later on, but for now, that's what this video is focusing on. The fact of contributions in church is just too much, and the church need to address that. They need not to center the church or the services on mostly money. It's all about money. That needs to change. If you are to keep people in church, the story of contribution should be the minimum. You preach the gospel more and less on the contributions. That's all for today, guys. I'm not trying to be controversial or anything. I'm just stating out facts. And it's not my fact. I've talked with so many people, and everyone who has ever left the church, that is the few that I talk to, their main issue is this contribution issue. It's just too much to stay in church. Thank you, guys. I love you, and please subscribe if you've not subscribed. Please like, mostly share with others. Please watch other videos that I've made before, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.